Tell me about your books. I
Oh,
will put a little graph up, a little bar.
here
Tell
we
me about
go.
your
Here,
book.
here we go. The first one was called Overnight Success. You know, dealing with all these people addicted to their phones and technology. And of course, I've got so many CEOs, but also prison inmates. I speak at a lot of prisons. And I discovered early on that everyone that I met in prison was there because of maybe some type of crime they committed that was connected, some type of get rich quick scheme. I want money now. And then, of course, they go to prison and they come out in their 40s, a changed person, truly rehabilitated, and they will tell you they were glad for the time. So I kept saying, wait a minute, I see so many people get in trouble because they get addicted to everything being instant and overnight. So my first book was called Overnight Success, had a lot of my story. I would tell people, don't go buy it because it's just been redone. And then the title of that is now called Culture Crashers. It's about to come out in its second re-release. And then my book that just came out last year was called Disrupt Yourself. And I'm really big in the disruption market. I talk a lot about disruption. I've got a backstory that gives me a lot of credibility to talk about what it's like to lose and then have to rebuild yourself up. And I look at disruption as the most beautiful thing in the world. And I tell you what, I was in North Carolina 4 years ago, and I was at a DMV, and I was in a tiny DMV in Mooresville, Lake Norman, North Carolina. And I looked around and I noticed that everyone was on their phones. Nobody was talking to each other. And I just had this simple idea. I said, what would happen if everyone in this DMV was not allowed to bring their phone into this place? What type of connections, what type of conversations would come from that? And I was thinking about how truly disruptive that would be if in public, everywhere we go, we weren't allowed to have our phones. Well, that's where the idea started. And as I started with working with supply chain leaders and leaders from around the world, I realized there was a message there. And so the book takes place in a small town in the South with this really, really mean old lady named Miss Minnie, who had one rule and one rule only. You bet not bring your phone into my DMV. And what happened in that book was one of the most, I was going to call it a beautiful story, but that would be self-serving. What happened was one of the most interesting things that I've ever written in my life. And I cried like several times as I was reading it. And it's a fictional story, by the way. So imagine me being the idiot at my desk writing, and all these characters are coming to life, and I'm smacking myself like, Morris, why are you getting emotional? You know, this isn't even real. But I tell you what, the book has helped a lot of people. Most importantly, it helps me to make sure that I am staying connected as a human, and I'm building a community, and I'm not being distracted by my phone, because that is not what humans should be doing today. As a matter of fact, we are very, very bad today at what it means to be humans, and we need to get a lot better.